Good morning, Bermuda, and good morning to the Progressive Labor Party team. Over the last 39 days, the team behind me has visited you in your homes, engaged with you in your communities, and listened to you as you shared your challenges. Tomorrow, Bermuda will make a choice that will shape our island's future, not just for the next few years, but for generations that follow. This Progressive Labor Party team wants a Bermuda where hard work moves you forward, not one that leaves you struggling. A Bermuda where Bermudian children, no matter their last name, no matter their background, have a fair shot at success. A Bermuda where our seniors can retire with dignity. And a Bermuda where fairness is not just a word, but a reality for every Bermudian, black and white, Bermudians of all shades. We have heard you. Rising costs have hurt families all across the globe, and Bermuda is no exception. No government can solve a global crisis, but we can lighten the burden on our families. Over the past few years, that has been our guiding principle, to stand with you, work for you, and deliver a Bermuda that is more fair and more just. When we introduced Bermuda's first ever minimum wage, it wasn't just for black Bermudians. It was for all Bermudians. It helped every working man and woman put in an honest day's work, but was struggling to make ends meet. When we raised seniors' pensions every year, that didn't just benefit black seniors, it helped all seniors. Because after a lifetime of working, all Bermudians deserve security, no matter the color of your skin. When we expanded eligibility for child care assistance and made it more affordable, it was because every Bermudian parent, no matter their circumstance, should be able to give their children the best possible start in life. And when we cut taxes for 86% of workers to the lowest level in history, putting an average of $1,500 back in your pockets, while requiring those who earn more to pay more, it benefited the vast majority of Bermudians at a time when Bermudians needed support. When we invested record amounts in affordable housing, delivering over 70 homes, and providing support for 40 Bermudians to buy their first home, Bermudians from all walks of life benefited. And when we fought to protect Bermudian jobs, we didn't ask what race you were before we stood up for you. We didn't ask what party you voted for. We stood up for you as Bermudians because that is what fairness demands. These changes that benefit all Bermudians happen because of this Progressive Labor Party, represented by this team joining me today, has been rooted in the vision of a fairer Bermuda since its founding. But there are some who do not believe in this kind of fairness, some who spoke out against the minimum wage, some who cut social programs for struggling families and slashed scholarships when they're in government, some who increased taxes on workers to the highest level in history, leaving many hardworking families behind, and some who worked to protect the privileged while the rest of us were told to wait our turn. Some who were determined to give away Bermudian birthright through pathways to status. Bermuda, you and your family cannot afford to go back. And so tomorrow, you have a choice. Indeed, in our view, a clear choice. While many other candidates have stepped forward in this election, only the Progressive Labor Party or the One Bermuda Alliance will lead the next government. If you decide not to vote, if you cast your ballot for an independent or the FDM, you risk waking up on Wednesday to an OBA government that believes it is too expensive to help our seniors, has a record of underfunding public education, and is determined to change our immigration system through pathways to status. And you will have to live with that government for 5 long years. Bermuda, you and your family cannot afford to go back. However, that doesn't mean that we have not heard the call for fresh perspectives. We recognize that Bermudians want a government that reflects a broader range of ideas and voices. And if returned to office, we will reach out to independents and the Free Democratic Movement to ensure that their ideas are heard and considered. We believe a fair Bermuda isn't built by one party alone. It requires all of us working side by side for a brighter future. But what does that future hold? This PLP has presented realistic plans to address the most pressing issues facing our island while supporting Bermudians through every phase of life. Our platform, entitled Building a Fairer, More Stable, and More Affordable Bermuda, focuses on ensuring that Bermuda is more affordable. Controlling essential food prices so nobody has to break the bank for basic groceries. Building on our record of delivering affordable housing, including rent-to-own opportunities for young Bermudians. Expanding access to health care with a primary care visit under HIP and specialist visits under Future Care, on our way to delivering universal health care, which will reduce copays while ensuring all Bermudians can have access to affordable health care, including mental health care. We will open a new senior daycare center to relieve the pressure on the sandwich generation, those who are struggling to take care of their aging parents while raising a family of their own. And yes, we will continue to increase seniors' pensions.
We will.
Yes, yes, yes.
We will expand scholarships, enhance technical education, and give our young people even more support so they can thrive as they prepare to build the Bermuda of tomorrow. But beyond the policies on paper, this election is about you and your family. It is about who will walk beside you, both through sunny days and through storms. We are not perfect, and we have not gotten everything right. But we have proven our commitment time and time again and demonstrated that our hearts are in the right place. And this team is prepared to face whatever global challenge the next 5 years will bring. We have stood with you through a pandemic, taking on a once-in-a-century health crisis. We have worked to soften the blow of a turbulent global economy, reducing taxes and increasing support for you in times of need. That is what it means to govern with fairness at the heart of every decision. So when you go to the polls tomorrow, ask yourself, who will keep moving us toward a fair Bermuda? Who will keep fighting for your seniors, your children, and you? The answer is Team PLP. Men, and most importantly, a record number of women who are dedicated to progress for every Bermudian and not just the privileged few. And if we earn your trust and your vote, we promise to continue on this path, forging a brighter, more inclusive future for our island home. Let's choose unity over division, hope over fear, fairness over inequality. So we are asking you, whether you are young or old, black, white, or in between, business owner or worker, to stand with us. Because there is nothing that Bermudians cannot achieve when we come together. So tomorrow, let's vote for fairness. Let's vote for opportunity. Let's vote for progress. And let's build a fairer Bermuda for all of us together. Thank you. May God bless you, your family, and our beloved island that we call home, Bermuda. Thank you. Myself and the team are here for any questions that you may have.
Hi, good morning. Jasmine Patterson from Bermuda Broadcasting. Thank you, Premier, for your statement, and for the candidates. Hello. So, just taking it from the top, voters tend to get tired of incumbent governments. There was a similar sentiment back in 2012, 2017. Whoever it might be, how do you overcome the apathy some voters might be feeling?
We overcome that apathy by engaging with voters on the doorstep. Over the last 5 years, we have made contact with 25,000 voters in this country in their homes. Since the election, 18,000 of them have been seen personally by our candidates. We have been working up and down, and the connection that the Progressive Labor Party has is not just at election time. These candidates work in their constituencies all throughout the year. It is to engage persons. So this election is personal for a lot of people in this country because they've seen the work that has been put through for this team over time. Yes, we recognize that persons may have challenges, and one of the stories I say is that if you make if persons agree, 99% of the people agree with every decision you make. After you make 100 decisions, someone will disagree with you at least once. That's reality. But we ask Bermudians to look at the total body of work, all of the work which we've done. And if you look at what we've done for seniors' pensions, for healthcare, for housing, for taxes, for making sure that we deliver and make Bermuda more fair, I think that that's what people will be voting on tomorrow.
Okay. So this is unprecedented, having 109 candidates. We have candidates from the FDM as well as independents. The FDM, or rather Imperial Group, have called your call for unity, should we have a majority coalition government, disingenuous. How would you respond?
Well, I'm not going to pay much attention to that. The reality is that we mean what we say. Our party chair has echoed the call that was given on Saturday night, and I think that Bermudians want to make sure that we embrace all ideas. And this is something that is reflected inside of our platform. Some of the ideas that were given to us by our Research and Platform Committee are ideas that you see in some of the independent candidates and some of the FDM stuff as well. So that's fine. And when the comment about not including the OBA will be the political opposition. That is our expectation. And we will always work with the opposition as we have over the last 7 years. We've reached out to them on education reform. We've reached out to them on immigration reform. Sometimes they've said yes and sometimes they said no. But we will be a government for all the people of this country, as we have been and will continue to do so.
Pundits have said the PLP has run a very slick campaign this time around. How confident are you about tomorrow's outcome?
I put the trust in the voters of this country, and I will not make any predictions. What I'm confident of is that we have the best team, that we have an amazing team that has knocked on doors and that has engaged voters where they are. We have a record number of women that are running for any political party in history. And it represents the Progressive Labor Party. We have young candidates that represent the future. This is what this is about. It's about connection. Elections are about the government that you have for the next 5 years. So I've said, yes, there may be 1 or 2 decisions that you don't agree with, but you have to look at the totality, what is being offered. And when we talk about the fact that we promise and we deliver, our platform, even on the back of it, has just 50 highlights. Persons on the doorstep that I've engaged with this weekend were saying, wow, I forgot that you did so much. That is the reality, and that is what we've been delivering. So it's not about a campaign, because it's easy when you have a record of delivering for fairness for Bermudians, and that's what we've done.
Just lastly, before I hand it over, still some outstanding grievances when it comes to education reform. The opposition OBA said they would go back to the drawing board, have an audit. FDM have said a similar sentiment. What can you guarantee for those parents and teachers and students that are very concerned at the way this transition is being carried out?
Well, what I can say is that I feel them, because I am one of those parents as well. I have a daughter that is set to transition into middle school next year. And so it has been a very difficult road, but we've tackled the hard problems, whether it's healthcare reform, whether it's tax reform, whether it's education reform. On Saturday, I spoke directly to the teachers of this country as well, and saying that we hear you, we must recognize that we must give you even more support in the classrooms so that you feel safe. What I can tell you is that this Progressive Labor Party government is committed to public education, committed to getting it right, committed to putting the resources, and we will always make the decisions that are in the best interest of the children. And if that means that we might have to delay a few things to get it right, we are not afraid to do so, because all of our decisions are what is focused on the best interests of the children of this country.
If I could do one follow-up, sorry. In your platform, you stated that you would pledge, if elected, to end the overseas consultants and, hire on local educators or those talented. Is that because their job is done, or because what they have done is no longer working and you wish to part ways?
I don't think either of those are correct. I think what we are saying is that we will transition away to develop more homegrown Bermudian leadership and education reform. And that means that we have to increase the resources. The challenge of which we've had, of course, is that we're building a new system while running an existing system. That team has been here to assist with change management. Their work will continue, but as our platform said, we're going to transition away to develop more homegrown leadership in education reform, because this is going to be a long process. But there is not a single person in this country that believe that we should not have engaged in education reform. It is essential and vital to build an education system that works for the future. We are committed to doing the difficult work, and that is what will continue, and that is what this team that is standing here with me will support.
Good morning, Mr. Premier. Now, throughout the course of your time as leadership, the PLP has promised collaboration, has promised giving people a chance to speak their mind, have their minds heard. However, we still hear feedback from groups on certain subjects like education, like reform, like the fishing and marine conservation, where people are saying they don't feel their voice is heard. Is there something that you can change to sort of ensure even more?
Well, here's the thing. I'll go back to the 2017 platform, and we said that we will engage on major issues with a wide segment of the public. We have done that. We've seen on numerous times where ministers have had consultations and have changed the plans that were originally put forward. We've tried to meet people halfway. But at the end of the day, the government has to make a decision. And not everyone is going to agree with every decision that is made. But I think that our history has shown, from immigration reform to healthcare reform to education reform to matters related to fisheries, as which you have mentioned, that we've consulted widely, that we've tried to meet people in the middle, and that is something that will continue. But it's essential that we press forward, because if there's a message that people in this country know is that they want to see things improve, and the only way that things can improve is if governments actually make difficult decisions to bring that change in conditions.
Now, obviously, this year we have a record number of candidates. Most constituencies seem to have 3 or 4 candidates running in each of them. What are your thoughts about the likelihood of vote splitting, of perhaps the PLP losing some votes to other people and losing some safer seats?
Well, I'm not going to get into the political prognostication. I'm just going to say, as I stated in my speech, as I stated on Saturday nights, a vote for an independent or an FDM candidate could see a One Bermuda Alliance become the government. And the only way to ensure that this team that is committed to fairness is leading the government for the next 5 years to make sure you have a government that is committed to fairness, that has a detailed plan to make Bermuda more affordable, not just platitudes, not things that says, oh, we're just going to deal with immigration reform, but know that you bring back the architect of pathways to status, is voting solidly Progressive Labor Party in constituency number 1, all the way down to constituency 36, because we have the best team to deliver a fairer, more affordable Bermuda.
Hear, hear. Yeah. If the possibility comes out of a coalition government, is that something you would support or consider?
Those are things that we will deal with if they come. But what I know is that this team has worked hard, and I hope that the voters will recognize that we have the best team, the best policies, the best record. And I think it's also important. The world is a very turbulent place right now. This team has demonstrated that when tested, we can respond to global crises. Now is not a time to put trust in persons that don't have that experience. It's not. This is real. This is about the next 5 years. We know we have an administration in the U.S. We see what is happening around the world, and it is vital that we have persons that can pick up the phone, call, make sure we do things that are in the best interest of Bermuda so that Bermuda can benefit.
Thank you very much.
All right. Is there any further questions? Seeing none, I want to thank the members of the media for their patience over the past 39 days. It has been a lot. You all have worked very hard. I want to thank my candidates who have worked so hard, exhausted, looking forward to meeting and greeting voters on the polling places tomorrow throughout the country, and this is an exercise in democracy. We are privileged to live in a democracy, and I sincerely hope that every Bermudian exercises their right to vote. And of course, we implore you to vote for fairness, to vote for opportunity, and to vote for the Bermuda Progressive Labor Party. Thank you. PLP. Thank you.